Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Today this is going to be a bit of a different type of video on the channel, where it's going to be a review of a show, but I'm doing it for a scripted show. And yeah, we're talking about Heated Rivalry Season 1. This is going to be the review for that. And honestly, I didn't know. I just watched the show for the first time the other day, all the way through, and yeah, I figured I think I need to do. I feel like I want to do a review of this show. Now, also, will say one of the reasons I even watched the show is because I've heard it so many there's a lot of things about it. It was in the news a lot. It's blown up everywhere. It's got a really high score on IMDb. It's a really, really popular show, and when after watching the show, I can definitely say why. So yeah, we're gonna talk about all 6 episodes here. Now I'm not gonna go too in depth into this. Now I will say I did hear about the show. Oh, I actually knew about the books too. Ooh, I've heard the title Heated Rivalry in the past. Hopefully this video is recording, by the way, because yeah, I can't tell if it is or not. It might not be. It may have stopped 20 seconds ago. I don't know. We're gonna figure this out. But whatever. Anyways, Heated Rivalry. I think I'm not listening. Oh, wait, sorry. I've heard of the novels. I know there's a book I knew it existed. And I heard about the TV show. People in the Marine Review live stream chat were kind of recommending it. I saw Miles from Australian Survivor really liked the show. So it's like, I figured I'd give it a shot because a lot of people are saying good, really big things about it before I get spoiled on it. And it's on Crave in Canada, and I have Crave, so I can do that. So yeah, let's talk about it. Starting off episode 1. Now, obviously, this is a different type of show. Oh, a very hockey romance show, and there's actually a genre of that, which I wasn't really aware of, but I think I like the storyline of this season. Now, in terms of the first episode, I was a little iffy of how far I'm gonna get into the show, which I did end up finishing, but one thing that kind of hooked me right away is it starts in Saskatchewan. It's the first shot of the show is Ilya and Shane Hollander meeting together for the first time at the Prospects tournament thing in Regina, Saskatchewan, which I don't know, but I'm in Saskatchewan, so yeah, that kind of just sucked me in. So yeah, I hope this is recording. I hope it's recording. I'm kind of panicking that it might not be, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, this episode we kind of see that. They're rivals. They're 2 really good rookies. It's their rookie year, kind of before their rookie year, even look, it is their rookie year. They're in the Prospects tournament thing in Regina. So yeah, then and I will say there are sex scenes in this across the entire season, not in every episode, but they are there. So yeah. But it's kind of interesting because there it's kind of showing a lot of gay culture. You don't there's not a before the show came out. There was no gay person, no openly gay NHL player or anything like that. And yeah, now, I will say it was kind of surreal watching this show Oh, and I do like the storyline, what they did with the 6 episodes. Now, I don't necessarily like that it was only 6 episodes. I kind of wish it was a little bit longer. I do think so. It would have benefited from if it was maybe an 8 episode season or not, than the 6 episode season. But anyway, he's with this episode 1. We like the scene at the gym is kind of cool. Well, they first run into each other outside, and like Ilya's smoking. And the first interaction seems fine enough. They're rivals. They're rivalries, guys. It's a rivalry. Then they get to like the MJL or whatever it's called there. The MLJ or MLG MLH, I think this is what it was called. Oh, it's literally in the background. It's literally in the background. Yep, that sounds about right. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I like the premiere. It was we got to see the kind of Shane's side of things. Ilya is a Russian. They're both pretty great players. They get to the MLH. They are doing very, very well, and they do well on the season. During their hockey, they're pretty big pros, and they're the best of the best. This isn't in any formal order, anyways. By the way, I'm going in order. The slides are in episode order, but I might just start talking about stuff from previous episodes or something. But whatever. Yeah, I like that the scene at the gym with a water bottle. That's something. There's a shower scene. Yeah, that's something that happened. And yeah, let's move on to episode 2, shall we? Now we're episode 2. And they obviously gain a lot out of mutual respect for each other, and they kind of keep each other in their phone. They put in their phones. One guy's name is Lily. One guy's name is Jane. They don't want to get sent to. They are, because that's a little weird. Not weird. It would during this time period that they're filming not filming this, but when this takes place, it's a little weird. Not a lot of gay people, especially within hockey itself. And especially in the hockey, and yeah, and also whatever the other one was. Or in Russia it's illegal, right? To be gay. So yeah. Anyways, so they go to in this episode they go to a hotel room. They do more sex scenes. Yep. And it's kind of weird. It's honestly kind of weird how they did this, because you know what? This series is kind of it's a 6 episodes. And I genuinely wasn't expecting too many sex scenes before getting into this. I had heard things about this show, but I didn't think there was going to be a lot of nudity, but there is. So, yep, that's something that's on the show, and it's fine. Yep. Anyways, we get more character building. I think this was in the first episode, but you get to meet the parents of Shane, and Yuna, I think it's the mom. Shane's mom is kind of, I want to say controlling, but she wants what's best. All she knows, the brand deals and stuff, things like that. We'll talk about that. And then Ilya's parent or dad and brother seem kind of terrible people. Yeah, they're not great. I genuinely disliked them at the start, and I only got my hatred of those guys, of Ilya's family, got worse. Only grew. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, episode 2, we also see them going to the Olympics. I can't believe it. Now, I'm like I get it in this. I get the show in the sense that like they're switching time periods, like because obviously they're playing on two separate teams, right? One Ilya's on Boston and Shane's on Montreal, and they're playing. They have to play against each other, right? And they're playing an entire hockey season, kind of like NHL style hockey season, and right. And so they obviously don't see each other so that much. So when they do see each other, they grew a lot of respect for each other. They really did. Yeah, but they do get to go to the Olympics, which is very topical because the actors Connor Story and Hudson Williams were the torchbearers at the Milan Olympics this year. So, because of how popular the show was, and yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Well, by the way, I will say I'm filming this on January 31st, 2025 or 2026 rather. So. Yeah, and this is probably coming out sometime in February. But yes. Anyways, I think like this is I like them at the Olympics here, or that there wasn't too much at the Olympics, but they get to know each other again, and yeah. I like their relationship. They haven't been getting to know each other, and yeah, episode like 1 and 2 overall, I will say like they're decently good episodes, and I know they have like over a 9.3 on IMDb or higher, which is pretty good, right? So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to episode 3, which is kind of a weirder episode in the bunch. It's probably the weirdest in my opinion, but it's because we go to a completely different storyline. We kind of forget about Shane and Ilya for a bit and go to a new couple, I guess, where it's Scott Hunter and Kip, and yeah, I mean I feel like I don't mind them doing a double storyline, to be honest, but I think, or I don't mind them doing it this way, but I think I would have personally liked it if they did it in like did two lines or did segments, like one like we barely focused on Shane and Ilya at all in this episode, right? And like we've seen Scott and Kip being kind of a couple here, and I get like them being the focus of this episode, but I would have liked another scene with like Shane and Ilya or whatever, or Shane and Ilya doing stuff. Then just this focusing on this one other player, and like honestly, like it wouldn't bother me as much if they they didn't really focus on them at all, this Scott and Kip at all in episode 4, but really episode 3 I do like it. They're kind of, Scott's kind of really worried about this person. I mean, he knows he's gay, and he's really trying to get in the perception. He's trying to, he wants to keep it a secret, and Kip, his father's really supportive and stuff. And he's trying to pretend like he has a girlfriend, and which he kind of does. A lot of these people have girlfriends, by the way. Like all 4 like these main characters have girlfriends, pretty much, right? Except for Scott. Like I guess 3 of the 4, but obviously they find it. They in reality think it's best to be with a guy. Yeah. But anyways, with that being said, I think it was a really interesting episode. There was more sex scenes in this one too, between these two, and that was kind of weird. We have them at the rink and stuff, watching. Like it all starts at the smoothie shop. That's kind of interesting. Blueberry smoothies are in all the rage nowadays, I guess. So, yeah. So yeah. Anyways, episode 3 I think was a pretty decent episode, but I would have wanted them to. I think it would have been better if they focused a little bit more on Shane and Ilya, even if it was just at another segment somewhere with maybe even at the end of this episode or something. I don't know how you would do it, but like I would have liked that a bit. Now for episode. I completely forgot to put in a slide, and I had it ready, but I did. Okay, yeah, alrighty. I guess we'll just stay on this one. This is episode 5, but there's an episode 4. I guess I didn't put the slide in for that. But anyways, I guess we'll talk about episode 4 or quickly. Now this was kind of it was a good episode from this, or at the start, and like it kind of like towards the end, it was like really, it was kind of weird, where they like Shane and Ilya kind of just separate, almost kind of like they're together. They have they're together having fun. Having fun in the hotel rooms and stuff, and getting together. Or they like each other, right? Yeah. But then later in the episode, you see like Ilya and Svetlana, and then you also see kind of like Shane getting tagged with Rose, this person, and honestly, I at first I didn't like Rose, but she definitely grew on me, especially in episode 5. But it's kind of like there's similarities with this, right? Like I've like if like they kind of just split apart and they go do girlfriends and stuff. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a little bit weird that they're doing it so quickly. Now I get like Shane's parents are like pushing him in that to do like the to go to the the U.S. Open in New York and sit in a booth next to the Swedish princess or whatever, yeah, and like obviously that's not really what he wants to do. Like he doesn't want to be with they're real. I feel like the parents are a bit kind of controlling, not fully controlling, but they're pushing for like that. They have these brand ideals that would be really really cool and give them more persona. And there's also like this running thing across the entire season, and obviously that Ilya and Shane are supposed to hate each other when they don't. Yeah. All right, and then we get to the episode 5, where now overall, episode 4, or I think it was probably the weakest of the. Once again, like the start was really good. I did like the start, but when we got to like the back half of the episode, it was kind of fine in a sense. But I do get why it was like you get why it's over a 9 point whatever on IMDb. So yeah. Anyways, let's move on to episode 5, which I think is the best episode of the season. Episode 5 and 6 are really, really great episodes of television. I genuinely believe that. I think they're incredible. Yeah. So we start off this episode with, oh, by the way, episode 5 got like a 10 out of 10 on IMDb at a time, which no show gets that. No episode has gotten that since I think Ozymandias of Breaking Bad. But yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is a pretty big episode, right? It's kind of insane how this has happened. This happened where we get it. Obviously, Rose kind of picks up onto the fact that there was a sex scene between Shane and Rose in the previous episode, but in this episode, they go to a coffee shop and they kind of get there, and Rose confronts Shane about, do you like guys or whatever, and he does say yes. Yes, he does say yes. He does, but and I think I do like that idea. Yeah, and they say friends. It definitely reminds me of a story of another movie I've watched. I'm not going to mention that, but I mentioned I've seen different in movies where the girl realizes that maybe they're not meant to be together, but they continue being friends, and they do continue being friends. So that is something. Anyways, then we also get to the part where Ilya loses his dad. And his dad passes away in this episode. He has to go back to Russia, and this is where we find out during his kind of speech to Shane on the phone. Shane is worried about him, right? And trying to get a hold of him because he kind of just disappears off the face of the planet. And obviously, he's probably on a plane, but and then Ilya calls him, and after I think it's after I think before the. Oh yeah, so there was a. I'm trying to remember it, or thing by thing, but there is a. There is a one phone call where. I think it was FaceTime. It's FaceTime, right? Yeah, they're all together. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot about the All-Star game. There was the All-Star game. They were at the All-Star game in Florida, and there was honestly, Ilya was really funny. There was an All-Star game. They liked each other. There we go. Anyways, moving on. They were on the same team for the first time. Yeah, you kind of seeing their chemistry there. They're on the same team. Yeah. Anyways, that was Ilya's his father's death. Anyways, yeah, they're in a call, and they see them together. Or Ilya reveals that his father died. He'll be back by the end. He says he'll be back by the end of the week. Shane's like, take your time. Yeah. Anyways, then we get there's a massive fight between Ilya and his brother in Moscow there, and they were really the family. They're taking advantage of him, and we see it in kind of when the scene here is of him confessing everything to Shane in Russian, and I think that scene was pretty delivered very, very well. It was, and then Ilya confesses all his frustrations. He was saying, I think it was in Florida, that he was worried because he wouldn't if he came out, he wouldn't be able to go back to Russia. If they chose to be together, or if Shane and Ilya chose to be together, he wouldn't be able to go back to Russia because it's illegal to be gay there. Or it's illegal to be a same-sex marriage there, right? It wouldn't be he wouldn't be able to go back. But then we see here where his family's taking advantage of him because obviously he's a very, very big hockey player and he has a lot of monies, and so they just kind of taking it all for granted, and so Ilya hates this and has to now return to Russia, this was a pretty moving scene. This is kind of emotional for me, but yeah. Anyways, they're back together. Also, at this point, Shane, during this, it's a second phone call. It's after there's a funeral and the fight, and then there's a second funeral. That's where he confesses everything in Russian and stuff. And, he's even says, even though Shane doesn't understand, and, like, he does really, really, like, Ilya does have a lot of feeling for him, Yeah. Anyways, let's move on to... That's it, by the way. Anyways, then we get to there's a game between them two. Yeah. Boston and Montreal. Shane gets hurt on the ice, and Ilya Rozanov. He's worried. No, he gets taken off in stretchers, goes to the hospital. That's a pretty good scene. Okay, this is where he asks to go to the cottage. It's in the hospital. This is where Shane asks Ilya to go to the cottage. It's late, guys. It's late, really late. So, yeah. Anyways, it's at the hospital. And then we get... Ilya gets bruised, and he can't... Like, he gets injured too, but it's not as bad as Shane's. But he can't do the All-Star or the final game of the season. Then we see a big, probably one of the more famous parts of the episode of the season where Scott Hunter's team, I think it's New York, they win championship, and they bring in Kip. He brings Kip down onto the ice. He was in the stands. And they kiss in front of thousands of people. And obviously that makes a lot of headline in this world. And yeah, that's pretty big. Pretty big. And yeah, I really like this episode. I get why it was a 10 out of 10 on IMDb. I really do. Ooh, I think this is like how they managed to fit it all in like the 50 minutes. It's pretty insane how much they did, and it was a pretty great episode. It's probably the best episode of the season in my eyes, and yeah. All right, let's move on to the finale, kind of. I guess episode 6. I don't know why there's a yellow background border for this. I'm sorry, but yeah. Anyways, the finale. Episode 5 ends with Ilya calling Shane. It's right after the kiss. It's on front national television, and it's like, I'm coming to the cottage. Yeah. And by the way, Connor's story, I will say, really great at Russian. Just saying, Russian accent, even though he's fully American and didn't speak Russian. But yeah. Anyways. This episode 6 is a really great episode too. As well. I've rewatched episode 5 and 6 like 3 times at this point, and yeah, I genuinely really like this episode too. Where he could let me think. A second. Alright, so, yeah. Sorry. Ilya arrives in Ottawa, because they go to the cottage in Ontario, where it's a secret retreat, is what it was dubbed as, which is very funny. Or silent retreat. That's kind of funny, what they said there. And yeah, like they're together. There's a sex scene. It's not as big of a sex scene as the other episodes, but there is one. It's kind of interesting seeing them talk about stuff of like a future, or them having a future together. Like Ilya realizes he wants to be with Shane for like forever, right? They want to be together. Anyways, so they have burgers and stuff like that, and they do the kind of house tour. They're sleeping together. All the things you expect from a gay couple, I guess. And yeah, there's a funny scene where they receive a phone call. Not a phone call. Or sorry. There's a loon makes a sound in the background. And he's like, "What the?" And Ilya goes, "What the fuck is that?" What's up? And Shane's like, "It's a loon." And then it's like, Ilya's like, "Stupid Canadian wolf bird." That was genuinely funny. That was kind of funny. It was probably one of the funniest parts of the entire season. And honestly, Ilya does have a lot of funny lines across it, especially, and it definitely helps with the Russian, like the actor, or like the Russian accent definitely helps with the comedy factor to some degree here. And also we do get here where Ilya reveals that his mother died from like a drug overdose kind of deal, or it was an accident, and that was kind of poignant. And then obviously they're together. They're playing in the equivalent of NHL hockey, like the DVD games. My brother has a bunch of those games. Anyways, and Shane's on. They're both in the game. Shane's on the cover, but Ilya's like, I want like a Metro. I've always wanted to know how it feels like to be a Metro. And then Shane chooses Boston and stuff like that, and whatever. That was kind of funny. Yeah, and then we get to like Shane comes up with the idea of them being, when if he moves to Ottawa, like he said he kind of did. Like if Ilya moves to like Ottawa, he plays for Ottawa Senators because he said he wanted to be a free agent. I did mention that, but he wants to be a free agent and move on from Boston, and he wants to be a free agent and pick. So Shane comes up with the idea to be him to go to Ottawa. So they're still kind of rivals, as they say it's two separate divisions, I guess, but it's then so they. And Ottawa and Montreal are only 2 hours apart, so they can still kind of be close to each other, yeah. And then Shane comes up with the idea, so it's not weird seeing them two together all the time, that they support a charity, that they're part of a charity that's for supporting drug abuse and stuff like, and drug addiction and stuff like that. And I think that was pretty fun. And like suicide. That's like pretty. I think that's a pretty good moment of this show. And also, then we get the final scene as well, where kind of the final scene. It's not really the final scene, but where Shane's dad ends up going to the cottage. Just pick up a phone charger. Sees Ilya and Shane kissing, and they realize that they see the dad getting in the car and leaving, and they just chase after him. To be honest, they kind of do. They're kind of in shock. They're like, "Oh my god!" They don't want to, because they didn't know. Like they didn't know they were dating, and they thought they were arch rival, nemesis. Enemies. But yeah, then we get to and like this is the scene here. Then like they confront each other. Shane officially reveals he's gay. They reveal that they're together, that they like each other. They have feelings for each other, and I think this is a pretty good moment. I was worried that them getting in the car and leaving and like going to the confrontation here at the house is the fun part. I was worried that was going to be a cliffhanger. If it was a cliffhanger, that would have definitely harmed, in my opinion, of the season. I think so. Thank goodness they didn't do that. Because I don't like that. It's it makes sense because they didn't know that this was gonna get a second season, right? They didn't know. Originally, this show wasn't even supposed to be for HBO Max or whatever, or and it wasn't. It was supposed to just stick to Canada, and it ended up spreading even more than it did. Anyways, then we get to this is there's confrontation. They revealed, talk, and the parents apologize about, they figured that they were using it, but apologizes for things, for her not being making it Shane feel like he could tell her, yeah. It's late, guys, by the way. Did I say that? And then there's kind of this scene here where this is really blurry, and I don't like it. But I guess it's what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. Words of Jeff Probst. Anyways, he's yeah. I don't like this. I couldn't get a better photo. Well, there were better photos, but yeah, there probably were. Anyways, I was just making the Google slide. Right before this, I rushed it together. Obviously, because I missed out episode 4 slide. Anyways, we get, they talk about the plan of doing Ilya moving to Ottawa, and and so yeah, and kind of it seems ends off with them driving back. They're together, they're all, and the parents are accepting, and this is definitely a great way to end the season, I think. And yeah, episode 6 also did well on IMDb. All 6 episodes got in above a 9.3 or higher as of making this video, right? And so that's pretty huge. And this show blew up the internet. It basically did. It did. It's got a lot of popularity, and their roles, went international. And this show started in November, ended in December 2025. It's going to be probably middle February-ish, maybe. I don't know when this video comes out, and stuff like that. It comes out, and in the time it's going on. These two actors, a lot of praise for the actors in this show, and Crave together. It's the most streamed show in Crave's history. It's the most rewatched show in Crave's history. It's breaking records already, and it's kind of insane. Hudson Williams, who plays Shane, and Connor Story, who plays Ilya, both their Instagrams went from 5,000 followers before to all the way up to 2 million followers on Instagram, 2+ million followers on Instagram, which is insane. It happened so fast. That was in October that they had 5,000. It's crazy. It's gonna get. I know it just got picked up by Sky in the UK. It was on HBO Max. People in America love it. People in Australia are loving it. It's making a lot of headlines, and they've gotten a lot of really cool opportunities here. And I guess I'll switch back to this screen here. Or I hope this recorded. I'm going to check if it did. If it didn't, I'm going to be so pissed. But anyways, yes. If they go back to this. Anyways, if it they've gotten so many great opportunities here, that them going to the Golden Globes and presenting an award, because that was cool. They were on talk shows like Jimmy Fallon, and they were on Today Show. They were on The Social. They were on Yeah, were they on The View? They might have been on The View, but yeah, it sparked a lot of talk. They were in the Olympics, being torchbearers, which is pretty cool, and stuff like that. They got a lot of attention. They were even like Hudson Williams met the Prime Minister of Canada the other day. As I'm recording this, they met their friend, I guess, at this gala in Ottawa. So yeah, that something. And now for season 2, I think I'm optimistic for season 2. Will it be as good as season 1? I don't know. Maybe. I hope they continue along with the series. Like right after this, there was rumors that it was going to be like, I believe like the second book is an 8-year jump, and I don't want that. I really don't want that to happen. I hope from like the cards, I hope it's like the season 2 is kind of like right after, or at least starts right after, or that where it left off, right? I hope that's where they leave off, and then he moves to Ottawa, and they're doing stuff there, and it keeps going, and their relationship continues and stuff like that, because I really like it, and they want to try and keep it kind of secret until they retire from the hockey, yeah, and then and then a season 3, then they can do other stuff, but like, and it's hard for these two, because the actors are still kind of young, right? I believe like they're 24 or 23, 24 ish, like 20, maybe 25, if like they're still relatively young, right? So I hope they do make a good call, and I also want the series to be a little longer. I think 6 episodes is a bit too short, or I don't like. Yeah, it like, and the 6 episodes here, it seems like I may have been cashing on the first 4 episodes really, but I do have critiques with stuff, anyways. But those episodes are still really great. I just love episodes 5 and 6 more. But yeah. Anyways, that's pretty much it about Heated Rivalry. It's 2:00 in the morning. It's 2:07 in the morning, guys. So yeah. Anyways, is Heated Rivalry. Yeah, I think it's a good show. Ooh, I figured there was enough talk about it that I figured I'd talk about it. Why not? Anyways, that's pretty much all I gotta say about this show. I don't know, I probably won't do any more videos on it. Maybe I'll do a video on season 2 when that comes around. Yeah. And the budget for season 2's gone up a lot. And in terms of episode count, I think they're trying to shoot for 8 or 10 episodes, which is better. I think 10 episodes is good. It's good. But yeah, and also there's rumors of a possible Christmas episode. But yeah, but there we go. That's pretty much all I gotta say with this. So about Heated Rivalry, I really liked it. It's probably one of my favorite scripted shows, and definitely one of the favorite LGBTQ romances that I've seen. Like, it's definitely better than some of the other ones that are out there. But there we go. That's pretty much all I gotta say. In terms of other shows, I want to, like, scripted stuff. I want to do, like, Scooby-Doo, a video on, like, ranking Scooby-Doo movies or something like that. I want to do a video on Wildcrafts because 15-year anniversaries this year, and stuff like that. So yeah, maybe in the future. But like, I'm going to mainly continue with just like reality TV stuff, like Survivor. I'm doing resimulating Big Brother on Brand Steel right now. Well, I've recorded a MasterChef video kind of right before this, so yeah. So it's going to be it. It's going to be the videos. I want to do like recaps for Survivor 50. That's the plan. At least I'm going to do everything you need to know about Survivor 50. So yeah. I don't know when this is coming out. this might come out. Like I genuinely don't know when this is coming out. This is coming out in February. I can tell you that, but like I don't know anything about that. We'll figure it out. Anyways, that's it for this video here. So yeah, thank you for watching.